Last Sunday marked 100 days since October 7th. Never in my life have I felt each day so acutely. Waking up every single morning and logging on to the Times of Israel app for the latest update, seeing the daily count across the top banner. Today's read, Israel at War, Day 105. The pictures on the site pull at my heartstrings. Such gorgeous sabras, from the very youngest children to soldiers to the elderly. The headlines are excruciating. Yesterday's, the saddest birthday in the world. Hostage Kfir Bibas turns 1 in Hamas captivity. He's the little red-headed boy, Ginji they call it in Hebrew, who together with his brother and parents were taken. Months ago, rumor was that they had been murdered, but no one knows for sure what happened or where they are, and so we presume them to be alive. Yesterday, the Knesset was lit up in orange, and hundreds carrying orange balloons gathered in Hostages Square in Tel Aviv for a birthday celebration in his absence, to bring attention to this little red-headed boy and to this precious family. They are all precious, all 132 of them who are in captivity, and I am aching for their return. But I'm also heartened, knowing Rabbi Loss is in Israel right now, that there are even more solidarity missions in the works. Several of our college students spent their winter break volunteering, picking peppers and onions and other produce from the kibbutzim, doing whatever they could do to help, bearing witness to the massacre, tragedy, and war. It's hard being there, and as we all know, it's hard being here too. 100 days and 100 loaves. Tuesday night, our newly formed Kemach Club, a baking club, gathered to bake bread for our fresh food pantry. It comes out of the teaching from the Pirkei Avot, Im ein Kemach ein Torah. If there is no flour, there is no Torah. If we are not sustained physically, the rabbis teach, we cannot be sustained spiritually. To learn Torah, teach values, create a legacy for a Jewish future. And it goes in reverse as well, for the text also teaches, Im ein Torah ein Kemach. Without Torah, there is no flour. Sustenance in all its forms is intertwined, and the concept that in the context of war also feels very fitting. So together, we baked nearly 100 loaves to donate to the pantry. In a very busy, cold, and snowy week, it was a highlight, knowing that we will be offering healthy, delicious bread to needy families in our community. And don't we all know that bread, at its very essence, is the foundation of society, supposedly the oldest food that doesn't require foraging or hunting. And even if you've given up carbs, you understand the role bread plays in our daily lives. A symbol of culture, history, hunger and wealth, war and peace, as described by Grant's Bakery in the UK, and who gives a short history of bread dating it back to ancient Egypt and continuing up until today, including the rise of bread baking during the pandemic, most notably sourdough and challah. Funny enough, ancient Egypt is the scene of our Torah portion, Parshat Bo, this week. It is here that we witness the last of the 10 plagues, locusts, darkness, and death. As Moses confronts Pharaoh to let the people go, Pharaoh's heart hardens again and again against the Israelites. Even Pharaoh's own people plead with him, "Can't you see that Egypt is lost?" The locusts invade, the darkness sets in for 3 full days, and it is so dark that people cannot see each other, even if they are standing right in front of each other. And finally, the death of the firstborn. From, as the text says, the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on the throne, to the firstborn of the slave girl who sits behind the millstones, grinding the wheat into flour. If only the Pharaoh had let the Israelites go to freedom. Again, it feels all too relevant in the world that we are living in right now. Ironically, woven in and out of this Torah portion is the theme of bread. I so badly wanted to connect 100 days and 100 loaves, and even as I struggled with it, I soon realized that it was there all along, and so obvious. I can't believe I almost missed it. Even the youngest child who recites the 4-question knows that the unleavened bread is the leitmotif of this story. There is the young girl who grinds the flour. There is the matzah the Israelites took with them out of Egypt, matzah because there wasn't time for the dough to rise. And tucked into the Exodus story, the command to observe the Passover festival with the eating of the unleavened bread for 7 days as its primary ritual of observance. Bread in its various forms becomes the symbol of freedom, from basic sustenance and survival to personal autonomy and economic independence. We eat matzah to remind us that we were slaves in the land of Egypt. We eat leavened, soft, sweet bread to remind us that we are now free. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks of blessed memory notes in his commentary to the Haggadah that when we call out at the Passover Seder, "Let all who are hungry come and eat," it is a strange invitation. What hospitality is it to offer the hungry the taste of suffering? It is a profound insight into the nature of slavery and freedom. Matzah represents 2 things, he says. It is the food of slaves and the bread eaten by the Israelites as they left Egypt in liberty. What transforms the bread of oppression into the bread of freedom? It is not the leavening, it is the willingness to share it with others. Sharing food is the first act through which slaves become free human beings. That is why, he explains, we begin the Seder by inviting others to join us. Bread shared is no longer the bread of oppression. By reaching out to others, giving help to the needy and companionship to those who are alone, we bring freedom into the world, and with freedom, God. What a powerful insight. I wish I had thought of it myself. I just knew how important it was that we baked for the pantry, that the 100 days of captivity were inextricably linked to the 100 loaves of bread, and that somehow it would lead us to redemption. Passover is still months away, but next week is Shabbat Shirah, our Sabbath of song, where we sing of freedom at the shores of the Red Sea. It is our prayer and our greatest hope that the hostages will be standing alongside us as we sing. It is our prayer and our hope that we can say, next year in Jerusalem, next year we shall all be free. Shabbat Shalom.